Yeah. This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. The vibes are always electric. And I am supremely grateful to be here with you guys on a Wednesday afternoon or early evening, I guess you might say. I'm joining some of you guys on your ride home from work after a long day. I may be joining some of you guys on your way in to your late night shift. I may be joining some of you guys that are taking a quick smoke break. But the reality is we're here together. And we always got to start the show with gratitude. Like I said, I'm grateful to be here with you guys. Some of you guys just got off work. You're home probably, kicking your feet up, probably still sitting in your uniform, sitting on the couch, phone probably ringing off the hook. Hey, dad, can I? Or mom, can I? Dad, can I? Mom, can I? Hey, son, can I? Hey, baby girl, can I know you're looking for that reprieve. So that's why I'm here, to give you guys some different energy so you can unplug from your reality and plug in to the Chalk It Up Sports Matrix. Again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Make sure you're commenting. Make sure you're sharing. All my people on X, make sure you guys are locked in as well. Means a lot to me. Please hit the retweet button if you can. Hit that heart button. You know what I'm saying? The vibes are always to the highest degree here. And it's always fun to be here. Like I said, gratitude is everything. I'm grateful to be here with you guys. It means a lot to me. And I'm always grateful for the newcomers, right? Every time I come back to the channel, I'm noticing the subscribers just keep on increasing, little by little, every single day. And it's awesome to see. You know, we had an amazing time with the draft. We had an amazing time covering free agency. It's been just an overall dope off season, especially if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. So we're gonna slow walk this dog. We're gonna take our time through this. And again, smash that like button. Please subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I know you guys saw the thumbnail, and you're probably saying to yourself, "Oh shit, where's Tone taking this? What's Tone's thoughts on the Kenneth Gainwell situation?" Now, obviously, I wanted to sit with this for a couple days. I wanted to let the heat die down. I wanted to kind of let people get their opinions off before I really share my own. And let me just say this. Let me preface it with this. I like Kenneth Gainwell. He seems like a team player for the most part. I believe Kenneth Gainwell works hard. I believe Kenneth Gainwell means well, no pun intended. I also believe Kenneth Gainwell understands that he is entering his contract year. But if you know that, why would you go on a public forum, a public platform, and say what you said about the Philadelphia Eagles and the team chemistry as it pertains to the 2023 collapse? And I want to add context to this. I'm going to play the clip, and I know a lot of you guys are just hopping in, so I appreciate it. Please make sure you guys smash that like button. It goes a long way. But I got to say, before I play the clip of Kenneth Gainwell, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't care how true it is or how accurate it is. That's not what we need to hear. That's not the vibes that we on right now. We are solely focused on the 2024 campaign. And me personally, especially now that the draft is over and the dust has settled as it pertains to the Hassan Reddick trade, and free agency is pretty much behind us. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear about 2023. I am on a whole nother wave right now. I'm already thinking about what the offense and the defense, special teams, the personnel, the coaches, I'm already thinking about what that's going to look like for the 2024 season. So me personally, I'm tired of hearing about the 2023 collapse. The only reason I spoke about it leading up to the draft is because it was leading up to the draft, and highlighting the collapse at that time would probably clear the way or give us a clearer view about what the Philadelphia Eagles may need in the draft. But now that we're past the draft, now that we're past free agency, I don't want to talk about the 2023 campaign. I'm sorry, I'm not focused on that. I don't give a rat's ass. So when Kenneth Gainwell comes up talking about the 2023 campaign, when in reality, he should have been talking more about entering his contract year and how he needs to make sure this is the best season he has. And let's make it frank. Let's make it very clear. It's not going to be easy for him this upcoming season because you got Saquon Barkley in front of you and you got Will Shipley on your ass. Will Shipley, rookie running back they drafted in the 4th round, I believe, out of Clemson. An extremely productive player during his time at Clemson, but he still has to prove it on the NFL level. And I'm going to play the clip. But I just wanted to set the stage. Because I don't think this is the type of time we need to be on right now. Me personally. And the only reason I'm addressing this Kenneth Gainwell situation is because it's the off season and it's a little cold right now. That's the only reason I'm addressing it. I was actually torn on whether or not I even wanted to even make a spectacle of it. I was torn about it. But it's the content game. You want to talk about what's going on. You want to talk about and address what's current. You want to do that. It makes sense. But I was so close to saying, fuck this topic. I was so close. But I owe you guys my thoughts on this. And I'm also curious to hear your thoughts. Some of you guys are already sharing it. Shout out to Ray Lester, Cody, Robert M., Timothy Walker, Malik Johnson, Jameer Adams. Shout out to all you guys in the live stream who currently probably haven't chatted yet, but you're just hanging out, taking it easy, fresh off the clock, or maybe you about to hop on the clock, whatever it is. Shout out to my people on Twitter as well. So let's get to the clip. And let's just react. Okay? The headline says Kenneth Gainwell blames the 2020 Eagles collapse on connection issue. So let's see here. Well, let's read the article first. It says, with OTAs beginning later this month at the NovaCare complex, Philadelphia had seemingly turned its eye from the 2023 Eagles' disappointing end to the potential of the 2024 campaign. That first sentence tells you everything you need to know about the opinion of even the person who wrote this. The 2023 campaign is a wash. We're over it. I'll read it again. And shout out to Seamus Clancy. Does an amazing job writing for the Philly Voice. He wrote, with OTAs beginning later this month at the NovaCare complex, Philadelphia had seemingly turned its eye from the 2023 Eagles' disappointing end to the potential of the 2024 campaign. That may have been the case until Birds running back Kenneth Gainwell discussed why the Eagles crashed so hard following their 10-1 start last season. Speaking on the JVN University podcast earlier this month, as clips of the episode have made rounds on social media this week, Gainwell blamed the team's connection. Here's an excerpt from the interview.
What do you think it was that caused that sudden change?
I think it was a connection piece, I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected, upstairs and downstairs,
Hold on. Time's out. Don't compare me to another team right now, Kenny. I'm sorry. Do not compare us to another team. They not like us. I'm sorry. Mistake number one. Don't you compare us to another situation. You're not in those rooms. Yes, the Chiefs win, and they win big, but they also have Patrick Mahomes. Everybody going to be on their best behavior. But mistake number one, don't be talking about another team. When it comes to us, we got our own fish to fry. Let's run that back real quick from the top.
What do you think it was that caused that sudden change?
I think it was a connection piece, I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected, upstairs and downstairs, front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you got that connection piece, bro, everything just click. When, you got guys that's not talking to each other, then, you never know what's going on, So like if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we find out what we need to do on the field to, get this thing going, then, we'll be good. Because if we play real hard at the beginning of the season, we need to continue to play hard at the end of the season, because at the end of the season what really matter. That would really matter, because when we get to the playoffs, we're not playing good, and we still got our head down because we just lost 5 games. What you think we'll do in the playoffs?
Let me play this again. I want to make sure I heard him correctly.
What do you think it was that
let me hear it again. Let me just hear it again.
That sudden change.
I think it was a connection piece,
A connection piece.
I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected, upstairs and downstairs, front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you got that connection piece, bro, everything just click. When, you got guys that's not talking to each other, then, you never know what's going on, So like if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we find out what we need to do on the field to, get this thing going, then, we'll be good. Because if we play real hard at the beginning of the season, we need to continue to play hard at the end of the season, because at the end of the season what really matter. That would really matter, because when we get to the playoffs, we're not playing good, and we still got our head down because we just lost 5 games. What you think we're going to do in the playoffs?
Okay. Oh no, Michael Robinson. He said enough. No, Michael. He said enough. He actually said too much, if you ask me. He actually said too much, if you ask me. That's my opinion. We could agree to disagree. But I actually think he said too much. Because let's play along, right? Let's just say, for the sake of argument and for the sake of the conversation, let's just say and pretend that Kenny Gainwell is 100% correct. Let's just convince ourselves really quickly that he lined it out perfectly. And he didn't say not one lie. Why the fuck would you say that? Why would you ever put that energy into the ether. I don't understand why some of these players continue to do and say the things that they do. I am very pro player, and I am very much in support of players being on podcasts. I am in support of players having their own podcasts. I am in support of all of that. I like it. I like players controlling their own narrative. I like it. Some of these players, they suck at it, if we're being honest. Some of these players absolutely suck at it. And the only reason they get the viewership they get is because they're an active player, and people want to see if they actually leak something or say the right or wrong thing, whatever it may be. Some of these players have good podcasts. The Kelceys have a good podcast. Cam Newton has a great podcast. Who else? I'm trying to think of active players who have a JJ Redick's not active anymore. Paul George has a great podcast. Look, that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is, why would you even put that information out there, even if it's fact or fiction, even if it's an accurate assessment, inaccurate assessment, or an inaccurate assessment? Why would you put that out there? What did you gain revealing that tidbit? Now, I don't know his relationship with JVN University. I don't know what his relationship is with the JVN University podcast. I mean, clearly it's an up-and-coming podcast. And I don't know if he felt like he was doing his guy a favor by, giving him some exclusive conversation. But you don't do that for the sake of your locker room. I'm sorry. I'm not jacking. I'm not jacking this. I'm not vibing with this whole Kenny Gainwell thing. And like I said to you guys before, I did not want to even give credence to this. I didn't want to waste my time on this. I didn't want to talk about it. I honestly didn't want to talk about it. But it was really grinding my fucking gears. It's not the point, John Jays. It's not the point. He talked about his whole locker room. You don't do that. You don't do that. I've never even been in those locker rooms, but I've worked in companies before. I've worked in business. I've worked for people. I currently work for myself to an extent. I have colleagues. I have all that kind of stuff. I have peers. I've been through my own turbulence in terms of business. But you don't see me jumping out the window talking about what went wrong. I keep it PG. I keep it professional. Let me run back. Let me run back what he said. Let me run it back. Let me run it back. Let me run it back. Okay. Let me run it back.
What do you think it was that caused that sudden change?
I think it was a connection piece. I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected. Upstairs and downstairs. Front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you got that connection piece, bro, everything just click. When you got guys that's not talking to each other, then you never know what's going on, you know. So like if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we
let's get something straight here. Let's get something straight here. As much as I shared with you guys about my transition from my previous employer, the one thing I didn't do, and the receipts are there, the one thing I didn't do was go into grave detail about what went wrong. All I said was they decided to take their company and their vision in another direction, and I wasn't a part of that. Simple, straight to the point. I didn't give details. I didn't talk about relationships, and I didn't talk about who did me wrong or if somebody did right by me. I didn't trash anything. Like I didn't jump out the window talking about my relationship and who was quiet and all. I didn't do none of that. I talked about the opportunity I was given, how sometimes things don't work out, and it is what it is. They decided to take things in a different direction. That's fine. There's a way to express yourself without giving up the goods. There's a way to answer a question without answering a question. Let me finish playing this.
Find out what we need to do on the field. There's, you know, front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you got that connection piece, bro, everything just click. When, you know, you got guys that's not talking to each other, then, you know, you never know what's going on, you know. So like if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we find out what we need to do on the field to, you know, get this thing going, then, you know, we'll be good. Because if we play real hard at the beginning of the season, we need to continue to play hard at the end of the season, because at the end of the season would really matter. That would really matter, because when we get to the playoffs, if we're not playing good and we still got our head down because we just lost 5 games, what you think we're going to do in the playoffs?
I don't agree. I just don't agree with the approach. I just don't agree with the approach, right? You're saying that the reason things went off the rails is because there was a connection issue. There was a disconnect between front office, coaching, and players. People weren't talking to each other. People weren't communicating. Everybody had their head down, and they basically couldn't really get their head out of the mud, and no one was locked in for that playoff game, right? And again, I think let me say this, right? Let me say this. I think on the outside looking in, we all could make an educated assumption that there were some communication issues on that Philadelphia Eagles team, right? I think we all can agree to that, right? Can we all agree to that universal truth that clearly, even in spite of him saying this, I think we all can agree that from a distance, we all felt like, something's going on. There's a connectivity issue. There's a disconnect between coaches and players. I think we all were able to figure that out for ourselves. But when Kenny Gainwell jumps out the window and validates our assumptions with an opinion like this, or a perspective like this, rather, it makes the home look shaky. It puts a crack in the foundation that you're trying to lay. The Philadelphia Eagles are building towards the 2024 campaign. They done signed Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff. They traded Hassan Reddick. They drafted Quinyon, Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Will Shipley, who likely will take your spot. They drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr. They got a new coaching staff. They are so focused on 2024. Yet Kenny Gainwell feels the need to go back to 2023. Now, he was asked a question, and I'm not even blaming the brother, Javian, for asking the question. But if I'm Kenny Gainwell, my retort to that is, well, we just kind of hit a wall a little bit. Things kind of spiraled out of control. And, we thought we can get things back on track. But overall, things really didn't go our way. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes in this game of football, there's so many variables that go into it. Once things start to spiral, it makes it really hard to kind of clean things up. There's so many moving parts in this game. But everybody came in, clocked in on time, and really put their best foot forward. But overall, some things just weren't clicking. And sometimes it gets like that in this league. And sometimes you have bad seasons. And we know what we're capable of because we were able to get to a 10-1 start, but we kind of hit this wall. Maybe it was fatigue. You never really know. But overall, none of us really had it. And there's a chance that we probably shot our load. There's a way to answer questions and give full, robust answers without revealing the trade secrets. There's a way to explain to someone how amazing and how decadent the Krabby Patty is without giving up the Krabby Patty secret formula. I don't understand it. What is wrong with some of these people? It's not even just Daryl, wake up, my G. Wake up, my G. This is not about telling somebody how to speak. This is about reading the damn room. Wake up. We are on to the 2024 season, are we not? We are trying to build something special. I'm sorry. And Daryl, I appreciate you for being here, by the way. I don't want to go at you like this is about you, but it's not about you. I'm just passionate about this conversation here. I'm not trying to tell the brother how to speak. What I am trying to tell him is there's just some things you don't talk about. There's some things you don't reveal. You're in this locker room. You're in a contract year. They drafted a running back. They signed a running back. And you put your foot in your mouth like this? Are we here to keep it real? Or should I placate and keep it PG? I want to follow y'all lead. You guys are my constituents. I trust you guys. I lean on you guys. You guys invest in the channel. I want to know from y'all, are we here to keep it real? Or are we here to pillow talk and tap dance? What's going on, Kyle? What's good? Anthony Dickerson says it's not that deep, but it is. It is that deep. It is. This is the same man that was at halftime going back and forth on Twitter or on Instagram with a fan. This is the same guy that was caught on Instagram going back and forth with the fan because he fumbled. And I like Kenny Gainwell as a person. I don't want this to get misconstrued here. This is not a personal attack on him. But I have a problem with his approach to that question. I do. And I'm willing to bet that the Philadelphia Eagles, the coaching staff, the teammates, the PR staff, the front office, I'm willing to bet that they have a problem with that. I'm willing to bet they got a problem with that. If you run a company, if you run an organization, right, and maybe you didn't have your best year financially, or maybe you didn't have your best quarter revenue-wise, right? And you go on a national or you go on whatever platform to talk about the company, the direction it's going in, and you get asked a question as to why last quarter or last year's revenue was maybe your worst revenue stream maybe in the past 5 years, or you're asked the question about what went wrong with the company, you're not supposed to give up the trade secrets like that. You're not supposed to talk about, hey, well, this company is connected like this, and this company is connected like that, and we got to learn to be more like that company. And we none of us were on the same page. The front office, we weren't communicating. You don't jump out the window like that when you got to go back to that same company with your suit and tie and say, hey, payday's coming up. Come on. What? That's not something you do. I'm sorry. I stand on it. That's not something you do. It's not something you do. The Philadelphia Eagles are trying to build something special. They're trying to make sure that they have all the pieces in place to compete and win a Super Bowl. The Eagles are trying to compete for and win a Super Bowl, and everybody needs to be rowing in the same direction. And quite frankly, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. And I'm not even sure what motivated him to just spill the tea like that. I'm not entirely sure. Does he? And now I'm assuming, right? I don't have anything to substantiate this, but is he dissatisfied with his role on the team? Was he not pleased with how he was used last year? Is he intimidated by the presence of Saquon Barkley and Will Shipley? Does he already see the writing on the wall that he's not going to get a new contract with the Philadelphia Eagles? Does he know something we don't know, and now he's just crashing out? And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he just said the most egregious thing. I'm not going to pretend like he threw somebody in particular under the bus. I'm not going to act like he said someone's name. But when you compare us to another organization and you talk about a disconnect between front office coaching and players, and you talk about guys not talking, you talk about guys like when you talk about guys not talking, who does that point to? You got to read in between the lines. Now, sure, he didn't say somebody's name, but he might as well have. He might as well have. He says, yeah, when guys aren't talking, it's kind of hard to, turn the page. Who else could he be talking about? Senior football, you're absolutely fucking right. It's a slow news day. You're absolutely right. It's a slow news day. Thanks for acknowledging the obvious. Like I said earlier in the show, I did not want to talk about this. I swear. I did not want to talk about this. But it was weighing on me all day. And I just couldn't help but I was trying to put myself in his mind. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? This is not about truth or lies. This is not about truth or lies. I like when players tell the truth. But this is not true about truth or lies. This is about omission. This is about omission. He could have told the truth without saying what he said. You know what he could have said? PA Philly man. I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. You know what would have been the smart thing to say? The smart thing would have been, look, it's obvious things went wrong. It's obvious, we had that losing streak. But first and foremost, I have to take accountability for my part. I have to take accountability for the fact that I did not perform to the level that I expected that season. I did not deliver the way I wanted to that season. I fumbled in this game. I did this. I did that. I did not live up to expectations. So I first want to take accountability for me. And then he could probably go on down the rabbit hole and say, things just kind of spiraled out of control. We had some coaching changes, and overall things got a little tricky towards the end. We kind of hit a wall. We had injuries. There's a way to tell the truth without making your peers look crazy. You still work there. You still are under contract. You still got to look those men in the eye. Why are some of us, not all, very little, why are some of us acting dense? It's almost like in your household, right? Let's say you got some real beef going on in your household, whatever it's about. Let's say you got some real issues in your household, or you got some issues with your brother or your siblings or your sister, whatever it is. Let's say you got some real issues going on in your household, right? But when you go outside, hey, I'm my brother's keeper. I'm my sister's keeper. Hey, I love my brother. I love my dad. I love my mom. You keep the family first. You protect the people that's in your corner. You protect your soldiers. You don't say, oh, we weren't communicating. We're not communicating right now. Me and my brother, we're not on the same page right now. So you don't do that. You just don't do it. And I'm not jacking it. I'm not supporting it. I'm not backing down off of it. I'm not going to give him an out. I'm not going to throw softballs here. Not a good look, in my humble opinion. Not a good look. I'm sorry. It's not a good look. I don't care how people want to slice it. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. We all saw the collapse. We all knew that there was some connectivity issues there. We knew there was a disconnect, from top down. We knew that. But he didn't have to confirm that. He didn't have to confirm that. You get what I'm saying? Please tell me you get what I'm saying. He didn't have to confirm that. Look, man, I know some of us feel differently about it. Some people feel like, oh, man, are we really talking about this? Some people were probably saying, hey, it's meaningless. It's Kenneth Gainwell. Who is he? Some people are probably indifferent about it. And look, I respect everyone's opinion here, right? But I don't have to agree with it. And again, when you're in a situation where you're this close to being able to win a Super Bowl, you don't want any distractions. You don't want any negative vibes, no matter how small or how large. You don't want that. You don't want that. You just don't want any distractions. If you going in to play the biggest game of your life, and then somebody show you a tweet about somebody saying something bad about you, damn, that's a distraction. You don't want that. Now, granted, it's a tweet. It doesn't mean anything, but it's a distraction. It's in your head. It's out there now. You feel what I'm saying? When you have a goal in mind, and achieving that goal is entirely contingent on everybody being on the same page, you don't talk like that. Let me play this clip again, and then we're going to be done with this topic. I'm gonna play the clip one more time, and then we're absolutely done with this topic. I don't want to beat a dead horse. You guys know how I feel about it. Just listen to what Kenneth Gainwell said again. This is the last time I'm playing this clip, and then I'm off of it. I just had to get my shit off. I'm sorry. I just had to get my shit off. So roll with me, okay? Just roll with me.
What do you think it was that caused that sudden change?
I think it was a connection piece, I say teams like the Chiefs, bro, are like well connected, upstairs and downstairs, front office and the locker room. Like everybody's connected. When you got that connection piece, bro, everything just clicked. When, you got guys that's not talking to each other, then, you never know what's going on, So like if we all sit down and talk to each other and find out what's going on, or we find out what we need to do on the field to, get this thing going, then, we'll be good. Because if we play real hard at the beginning of the season, we need to continue to play hard at the end of the season, because at the end of the season would really matter. That would really matter, because when we get to the playoffs, if we're not playing good and we still got our head down because we just lost 5 games, what you think we're doing in the playoffs?
Oh man. I'm off of Kenneth Gainwell. I'm off of Kenneth Gainwell for right now. Quinyon Johnson says the media creates more distractions concerning AJ than this. I don't like that either. I don't like the AJ Brown stuff. I don't like the way AJ Brown is handled with the media as well. I don't like that either. I don't like that either. All I'm trying to say is we're trying to win the Super Bowl. And look, when the season starts, maybe this doesn't even rear its head anymore. Maybe some of you guys are right. Let's just say, you guys are right, and this is nothing. And we don't need to pay attention to it, right? Let's just say that's the case, right? It's nothing. The fact still stands that we're trying to win the Super Bowl. And as we all know, there are so many variables that go into winning a Super Bowl. So many variables. But the thing is, on top of there being so many variables, most of those variables you can't even control. Like injuries, like life-altering events, like what other teams do, weather, anything like that. We can't control everything. We can't. There's so many variables that are outside of our control. But what you can control is locker room chemistry. What you can control is the energy you give out. What you can control is your productivity and your work ethic and things of that nature, and your practice habits and your nutrition and the type of media you consume and the type of programming you consume and the things you say, and you can control those things. And all those things go into the chemistry and the morale of a team. With the moves the Philadelphia Eagles made, we should be nothing but excited. We should be nothing but excited for what's to come. Right? With everything that's bubbling in Philly right now, we should be excited. The Phillies have the best record in baseball. The Eagles made a lot of moves in the offseason. There's optimism with the Flyers finally. Notice I didn't bring up that other team in Philadelphia. The one that dribbles, the orange ball. Notice I didn't bring them up. We throwing them out with the bathwater. But the vibes are pretty good in Philadelphia. The Phillies have the best record in baseball, and the Eagles have had a great draft, a great free agency period. You know, things are looking good. Offense looks crazy. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. The vibes are right. And then all of a sudden, Kenny Gainwell does that. So look, man, it is what it is. It is what it is. At the end of the day, Kenny Gainwell is entering a contract year. Who knows what his future holds? I wish nothing but the best for Kenny Gainwell. I really only wish nothing but the best for that brother. I want that brother to get everything he's owed. I want that brother to be a productive player and for the Philadelphia Eagles. If not them, I want him to be a productive player in the NFL. I want nothing but the best for Kenny Gainwell. I really do. But I disagree. You know, I wasn't a fan of what he said. I wasn't a fan of what he said. It's just that simple for me. Agree, disagree, do with it what you will. All I know is the 2024 campaign is fast approaching. The Eagles made a ton of moves to fortify this roster. And there's going to be a ton of competition all across the board. When I look at the depth chart, it's a lot of bodies, man. That's just the offense. A lot of bodies. So many linebackers on your roster. So many DBs. So many running backs on the roster. You got 6 of them on the payroll right now. Only 3 are going to make the roster. Obviously, Saquon Barkley will. Obviously, Shipley will. And then Kenny Gainwell. He makes the roster as well. I think the running back depth chart is pretty much clear cut. Barkley 1, Gainwell RB2 for now, and then Shipley RB3 for now. But I think it's going to be a ton of competition in that running back room. It's going to be a ton. And here's the thing. There's still a lot of offseason left. And a ton of moves can still be made. A ton of moves can still be made to fortify the roster. Ray Lester says Kenny G knows his time in Philly is about to end. being Fletcher's cousin kept him on the roster. His security blanket is gone. Wow. You know, although they're cousins, I didn't really think about that being the reason him still being on the roster. I mean, I looked at it as the Philadelphia Eagles drafted him, and they tend to give their draft picks a long leash. But maybe you're right. He is entering a contract season. The Eagles did sign Saquon Barkley. They also drafted Will Shipley, and they also have 3 other running backs behind them. In Lou Nichols, Tyrion Davis-Price, and Kendall Milton. Kyle says, Tone, if the Eagles make a trade, it's going to be for an edge rusher or linebacker. Yeah, I would agree with that. I can't think of anywhere else on the roster where they would make a trade to add to. You know what I mean? I think they're good on the offensive line. They're fine in the running back room. Fine at wide receiver. They're fine at tight end. They have a lot of DBs. If they do make a trade, I think you're right. They're probably going to add to the D line or to the linebacker room. Chevy Blake says the Eagles need a head coach. This is the NFL, and Nick is not suitable. Let's start there. Yeah, man. Right now, I'm very Switzerland on Nick Sirianni. I'm 50-50. I'm neutral on him. I'm not high on him. I'm not low on him. I'm very, very in the middle on Nick Sirianni. Very in the middle. Brandon Howard says, Kenny gone and done it. He has to go. Last offseason, I was rooting for his success. Now he can kick rocks. Jeez, you guys are ruthless. You're ruthless, Brandon. PA Philly Man says, that's an awful lot of new players on the depth chart to play together and gel. Absolutely. That's even more to my point about you don't need any distractions. You guys got a lot of new moving pieces, and you don't need distractions. Whatever happened last year, bury it. Flush it. You guys saw the thumbnail. It's time to flush the 2023 season. It's time to put it to bed. It's time to bury it. It's time to put the flowers on the grave. It's time to buy the tombstone. It's done. So when you bring in a lot of new players, you need to make sure everybody's on the same page. And it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of players. So you don't want any distractions. If you guys haven't already, please do me the favor of hitting that like button. We have over 100 people tuning into the live stream. We got people on Twitter. We got people on X. Please, 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 when you guys get a chance, hit that like button for me. It goes a long way. The like button is currency in the YouTube space. I know sometimes it's really easy to just get into these live streams and just watch the content. But please, when you guys get the opportunity to hit that like button, it's currency. It's the lifeblood. It's water in the desert. It's water in the YouTube desert. Please. The like button is currency here. Fitness Warrior with the comedy, of course. He says, I disagree. Kenny G needs to start over Saquon Barkley and should be named the captain after that interview. Oh, man. All right. Jose Serrano, my man, the OG, triple OG with the $2 investment. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate the love and the support. Always goes a long way with me. He says, Trotter Jr. is born and bred and prepped for linebacker, no doubt. I'm excited to see what Trotter Jr. can provide, Jose. I got to be honest with you. Obviously, the legacy side of it is really, really exciting, and it's a feel-good story. But legacy aside, if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. can deliver a Nick Bolton-esque production level for the Philadelphia Eagles, being a 5th-round selection I think that would be a win. I think that's a win. Nick Bolton from the Chiefs, drafted in the 2021 NFL draft. Nick Bolton is like 5'11", 6 feet, 225, 230, 35 pounds. Not a big linebacker at all. Just like Trotter Jr. and Nakobe Dean, right? I think if Trotter Jr. can deliver Nick Bolton-esque production, that's a win, especially for a 5th-round pick. And the linebacker room is crowded. Trotter Jr. has an uphill battle. I don't think he starts this year. I think that's not me indicting his skill set or his talent. I'm just thinking about the amount of people he has to run through, the pecking order. I'm thinking about, Devin White being in the building, and I'm also considering how the Philadelphia Eagles are viewing Nakobe Dean right now. I know this, again, I understand there's going to be a lot of competition, but I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is probably going to get a ton of special team snaps, and then depending on, I guess, how things go, maybe he gets some starting reps. You never know, injuries happen. It all remains to be seen. So I don't know, and I don't think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will be a day one starter. But I do agree, Jose. He was born and bred for this role. He was born in it, and I'm really excited to see him. Thanks again, Jose, for donating to the channel, my guy. Always love. S Blunt, OG. You already know how we give it up with the $1.99 donation. Always showing love, always paying my bills. I appreciate it. He says, top 5 players you will be paying attention to this year. Good question. S Blunt always comes with good questions. This is why it's important. When the OGs are speaking, you listen. You listen. Top 5 players I'll be paying attention to this year. I haven't given this that much thought, but let me see if I can do this, right? Let me see if I can do this. So, top 5 players I'll be paying attention to this year. Let's see. Okay, so, all right. I'm going to give you guys my top 5 players that I'll be paying attention to, but it's not really in any particular order. It's just the 5 players I'll be watching. The first guy I'll mention is Nolan Smith. I'm going to be paying close attention to Nolan Smith. He was drafted in the 1st round last year. So me personally, I would like to expect 1st round production, or at least 1st rounder type snaps, right? I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to Nolan Smith. His edge rusher position just got a little bit more crowded. Jalyx Hunt was added to the mix. He's BG is still there. Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff. It's crowded. But I'm going to be paying close attention to Nolan Smith. That Georgia boy, you drafted him in the 1st round. You got to get something out of him. You got to. So Nolan Smith is one of them. I'm going to be paying close attention also to Jordan Davis. I do like Jordan Davis, but he has been a bit of a disappointment these past couple seasons. And the crazy thing is, we've seen him at moments where you're like, whoa, that's a big boy, and that boy can move. You know what I mean? But we've seen moments where we're like, wow, that's a player right there. We saw that for the first part of the season, right? The first half of the season. and then he disappeared like everybody else. And with him, it's definitely a conditioning issue. So I'm paying attention so far to Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis. Again, 2 Georgia Bulldogs. Those guys are supposed to be the future and a part of the foundation of the Eagles defense. Someone else I'm going to be watching. Another player that's going to be under a microscope for me, Cam Jurgens. Now, I don't say this because I think Cam Jurgens is not a good player. I say this because now he's going to be taking over the center position full time. And with that comes an immense shift in his responsibilities since being a Philadelphia Eagle. Just because, you know, we trust the skill set doesn't mean he isn't a player we should pay attention. We shouldn't pay attention to. He's your new center. He's going to be filling in for a Hall of Fame guy who just retired. I'm going to be watching that center position like a hawk because he's going to be in charge of the line shifts. He's going to be in charge of making sure Jalen Hurts gets that ball. Me personally, I'm watching it. Now, granted, I like the player. I think he's in a way better position, and I'm more confident in him than I am Jordan Davis or Nolan Smith. If I'm being honest, I'm significantly more confident in Cam Jurgens than Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith. But because of the nature of his position and who he's going to be taking over for, I'm going to be watching him close. And he's dealt with injuries last season. Now, I'm not trying to say he's injury prone, right? I'm not trying to say that. I don't want you guys to get me misconstrued here. I'm not implying that he's injury prone. But last year he only played in 11 or 12 games at right guard. You know, at center, you're going to be really in it. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that along with the talent, the health follows. So him and Jalen Hurts have to be on the same page. The timing, the chemistry, the communication, all that stuff has to be on the same accord. So I'm not going to sit here and discount the pressure he's under. So as of right now, we have Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and Cam Jurgens, okay? Notice so far these 3 players have been drafted over the past 3 seasons. So my 4th person that I'm going to be watching, and again, this isn't in any particular order. And I also didn't prep this either. I'm going to be watching Quinyon Mitchell. I'm going to be watching and paying close attention to Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously, you know, he's the first round pick of this year's draft. A lot of pressure comes with that. We're expecting him to be a day 1 starter. We're expecting him to really shift the narrative with the Philadelphia Eagles DB room, especially at DB and corner, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be watching Quinyon Mitchell very, very closely. I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. It's going to be really electric. I love the confidence he has. I love his stoicism, the personality. I like that. I love the professionals. I love the professionalism he displays as well. I like that. I really do. So I'm going to be really intrigued to see Quinyon Mitchell, especially if he's going to be the second corner behind Slay or being a starter, of course. So I'm really excited to see Quinyon Mitchell. My man, Weapon X. My man, Weapon X in the building, and also S Blunt. I'm definitely going to get back to your, to your question. I got to give you my fifth person. Weapon X says I'm late here, but everything Kenny G said was facts. Weapon X, you know what's so funny about it all? I don't think he told a lie, but me personally, you don't say that shit. I'm sorry. That's just me. I don't say that. I can't say that, no matter how true it is. You know, there's a lot of true things that go on in my household, but I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go outside and let people know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna give you tidbits. I'm gonna give you tea leaves, but I'm not gonna give you the whole. I'm not gonna tell you that people weren't talking and we need to be more connected like the Chiefs. Me personally, I'm not gonna do that because I just feel like you're creating a distraction for everybody else. I just, again, to each their own. I just feel like I'm not going to say that. I actually think everything he said is facts. I actually agree with him. Before you guys came on, before you came on, Weapon X, I was saying how, it was clear that there was a disconnect between front office, coaching, players, right? There was a clear disconnect. We saw it. You saw it on the field. You saw it in the press conferences. You saw it, right? You saw it. But I don't think we needed him to say that. That's just me. That's just me. That's just me. I know. A lot of people disagree. But that's just me. I don't like it. It makes me nervous. It makes me uncomfortable. And then you're entering a contract year, my brother. I don't know. That's just me. But I appreciate you always for being here, Weapon X. You the real deal, my guy. I appreciate you. Now, my fifth person that I'm going to be watching so far, I have my top 5 players to watch or that I'm going to be watching: Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Quinyon Mitchell. So far, those are the 4 players. I have a 5th player that I'm going to talk about. Again, this isn't something that I've thought too much about just yet, but I'm thinking about it currently. Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Quinyon Mitchell. My 5th person that I'm going to be watching. You know what? Bryce Huff. I'm going to be watching Bryce Huff. Now, here's my justification, right? And also, I'm winging this. I'm winging this here. There's plenty more players that we're going to be watching. Let's be honest about this. There's plenty of players that we're going to be watching. Obviously, we're going to be watching Jalen Hurts. That goes without saying. I think that's the easy choice. That's the obvious choice, right? I'm trying to think beyond Jalen Hurts. I think we all can agree Jalen Hurts, franchise quarterback, we're going to be watching him. I don't want to waste time on that. So, although I hear you, Robert, I feel you, but I'm not wasting time on that. That's like obvious. I want to dig a little further than just Jalen Hurts. But for me, it's Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Quinyon Mitchell, and Bryce Huff. You want to know why? let's just think about it from, let's just start when it comes to Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff, right? Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff. The Philadelphia Eagles decided to trade Hassan Reddick, their most productive defensive player. Correct? So, for me, you're expecting Nolan Smith to step up, right? Also, Brandon Graham is on his last leg. Josh Sweat had a down year last year, but I do expect Josh Sweat to bounce back. But Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, those are two guys that I'm looking at that directly mirror Hassan Reddick and his departure. The Eagles drafted Nolan Smith because and this is my opinion, I believe they drafted Nolan Smith because they saw him as the future beyond Reddick. I believe they signed Bryce Huff because they felt like they wanted to invest in the younger player who was ascending, unlike Hassan Reddick, who's going to be 30 when the season starts. Thanks again, S. Blunt, for the $1.99 donation, by the way. I appreciate you. So I say that to say Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, and by the way, this is in no particular order. That I just listed these guys, right? This is in no particular order. Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff, they're going to have to find a way to replicate or replace the production that Hassan Reddick will no longer afford us. The Eagles' pass rush was almost non-existent last year, especially on the back end of the season. So I'm going to be paying close attention to guys like Nolan Smith, a player that we don't know a damn thing about. Bryce Huff, a player that we don't know a damn thing about. All we know is that he was an undrafted player that turned himself into a solid contributor in a rotational role, playing about 40 to 43, 42% of the defensive snaps with the New York Jets, had a career year in 2023 with 10 sacks, being in a rotational role. We expect him to turn up and be a starter and play around 60, 70, maybe 80% of the defensive snaps. And we have no idea if his production will increase or decrease with the increased workload. Nolan Smith, we have no idea if he's going to be able to play at this level and make an impact on the edge, especially going up against these top-tier left and right tackles. So when I think about losing Hassan Reddick, a guy whose motor runs hot, and he's been your closer, and he's clutch, and he's been your most productive player on defense, you damn right I'm looking at Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff. I'm G-checking them at the door. Bring the heat. Bring the fire. It's time to kick ass. I'm watching those brothers. There's a lot at stake at that edge rusher position. There's a lot. And I'm looking at Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff as guys that I need. We need them to step up. So I'm going to be watching those guys very closely. Staying on the D-line. Jordan Davis. Need I say more? Need I say more? Not only do we need Jordan Davis to step up, the Philadelphia Eagles lost Fletcher Cox due to retirement, of course. Fletcher Cox retired. So, naturally, by proxy, Jordan Davis's production and his overall contribution, his presence has to be felt. His impact has to be felt. Jordan Davis has to be the anchor in the middle of this new look Eagles defense. If Jordan Davis is not doing his job, he's going to make it a lot harder for guys like Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis is there to eat up space and eat up double teams. He's there to wreak havoc in the run game. He's there to afford guys like Jalen Carter, Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith, Brandon Graham. Jordan Davis is there so those guys can be afforded one-on-one matchups. You feel what I'm saying here? Jordan Davis can't afford to come into this season on some bullshit. He can't. Jordan Davis got to come in and bring it. He got to come in the best shape of his life. It's time for you to step up and be one of the young leaders on this team. You got to lead not only by habit, but you got to lead by production. This team, this D-line, they depended on you, big boy. They depended on you, brother. And I believe you have the tools to get to where you need to be. I believe that in my mind. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I believe Jordan Davis has the tools. I believe that. I really, really do. But he has to prove that. Robert, come on, man. He said he's anchoring down the cheesesteaks. My God, you guys are ruthless. You guys are ruthless. Chevy Blake says the anchor, the boy loves donuts. You guys are absolutely ruthless. But I'm telling you, Jordan Davis, if he does his job, weapon, weapon, they out of pocket, man. Robert says, it's too late, Tone. We would have seen it by now. But here's the thing, Robert. I'm so glad you said that, Robert. I'm so glad you said that. We did see it. We saw what it looks like when Jordan Davis is playing well. Remember the first half of the season last year? Jordan Davis was flying around the football field. Jordan Davis was a menace in the first half of the season. So we know what it looks like when he's playing at a top-tier level. We've seen that. Remember the Rams game? You know what I mean? Remember the I'm trying to think what other game was that? He was productive as hell. Remember the Patriots game? Like Jordan Davis has shown you stretches of okay, he can do this. But then he ran out of gas. So again, I don't question Jordan Davis's talent, skill set. I question the conditioning. It's the conditioning, it's the motor. Can he build that second wind? Can he build that second wind? No shit, Chevy. No shit. Chris Cobra said Norbert's going to mess around and have 12 sacks. Stop playing with JD. Yo, y'all got me rolling right now. Chevy, y'all got me rolling, Chevy. Chevy, y'all got me rolling. Chevy says JD has always run out of gas halfway through the season. I have no faith in him. We gotta have faith in him, man. We gotta have faith in him. We got to. He's him and Jalen Carter are the guys right now. We gotta have faith in him. Yes, Weapon X, my point exactly. We've seen him be dominant. It's just the conditioning. My man, Scale Blazers, what's good, my guy? Thank you for investing in the channel. Let me make sure we get you sorted out. All right, there we go. Just gave you a wrench, my man. Thank you so much for donating to the channel. I really appreciate it, my guy. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you. So, Jordan Davis. We know he's under a lot of pressure. Nike, no. Nike. You know what, man? I haven't bought Madden in a few years or a couple years. I'm gonna buy the new Madden this year. I'm gonna buy it this year, and I'm gonna see if you for real about him not getting tired. Unless you turned off the fatigue. Nike, did you turn off the fatigue? Did you turn off the fatigue factor in your Madden so Jordan Davis doesn't get tired? Nike. Robert, after he chased Josh Allen out of bounds, that was all she wrote. Nike said, nah, man, nah. Iron Mike says, you just want to play with 26. Hey, listen, man, look. Hey, Iron. Hey, you got me. Hey, Iron Mike, you got me. Saquon Barkley on the Eagles, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts with that offensive line. You got me. I need to find out what Saquon Barkley about in that new Madden. You dig me? All right, let's move on to my next guys. Right, Cam Jurgens, like I said earlier, Cam Jurgens is a player that I believe has all the talent you need at the position at center. My only concern about him is just the long-term health. I believe Cam Jurgens will be fine, but I'm still going to be watching him closely. I'm going to be paying close attention to the chemistry between him and Jalen Hurts. I'm going to be paying close attention to how he pulls on some of those zone run schemes and how he pulls in some of those RPO situations. I'm going to be paying close attention to Cam Jurgens and just how he moves, the quickness in which he snaps the ball and gets up. I'm going to be paying close attention to see how he fares against some of the top tier DTs, especially being the center. Granted, he's a natural center. Let me make that clear. He was a center at Nebraska, so the position is not foreign to him. But he's going to be taking over for Fletcher Cox, and it's something we got. I'm sorry, he's going to be taking over for Jason Kelce. Excuse me, Jason Kelce. Cam Jurgens is going to be taking over for Jason Kelce, so it's just something that we have to monitor. That's all. The new center, Jason Kelce, has anchored this offensive line for over a decade, and it's something that we have to pay attention to. That's all it is. We got to watch Cam Jurgens for health reasons and to make sure him and Jalen Hurts are on the same page. I think that's really important. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I'm not going to spend too much time on Cam Jurgens because I think Cam Jurgens may be the one player on this list that I worry about the least. Out of all the players that I mentioned, I worry about Cam Jurgens the least. And then one of my players, my final player, Quinyon Mitchell. Now, Quinyon Mitchell, drafted in the first round, obviously, 22nd overall out of Toledo, came in damn near as the perfect prospect, nailed everything top to bottom from the Senior Bowl, the Combine, Pro Days, measurables, football IQ, technique, instincts, playmaking ability. I mean, charisma, the personality, the leadership. He checks those boxes. So he's damn near the cleanest DB prospect that you probably could have drafted. So still, he has to come in and start day one. That's my humble opinion. I think Quinyon Mitchell has to be the day one starter. Now, obviously, he has to earn that, right? He has to beat out James Bradbury or whatever James Bradbury's future may hold. Whoever he's competing with, Quinyon Mitchell has to prove that he belongs out there. He has to prove that. He has to earn it. But I believe Quinyon Mitchell will be the starter on day one. I'm going to be paying close attention to how he fares against NFL caliber receivers. I'm going to be paying close attention to how he fares in Vic Fangio's scheme. I'm going to be paying attention to just overall how he develops on a week-to-week basis. My man Eric R says, whenever times get rough, I go back and watch the clip of Boobie and Kelce dancing to I Just Want to Rock. One of the best moments in Eagles history. That was funny, man. That was funny. So, yeah, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Quinyon Mitchell. I'm going to be paying close attention to those gentlemen. I think it's going to be imperative for all those gentlemen to hit their markers, and I'm really excited for it. But we're going to get out of here. I had an amazing time with you guys this evening. It's been really, really fun as always. Thank you to Jose Serrano. Thank you, Jose, for donating to the channel. It means a lot to me. Let me make sure I get you your wrench, my guy. I appreciate you for donating to the channel, for showing a lot of love, Jose. Thank you so much, my man S Blunt, as always, donating to the channel. Triple OG. And thank you, Scale Blazers, for donating to the channel. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate the love and the unwavering, the undying support. You guys are dope, man. I appreciate you guys for always locking in. Always, 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 please hit that like button. It's tremendous right now. We got over 100 people on the live stream. We got people on Twitter. We got a lot of people on YouTube. You guys are always spectacular. Please make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in and on the way out. If you guys want to double back on any other content that I have on the channel, I have a lot of interviews on there. I have a Seth Joyner interview. I have a Barrett Brooks interview. I have a Derek Gunn interview. I have a Rob Ellis interview. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually going to isolate and cut out my interview that I had with my man Weapon X. I got a Weapon X interview. I also got content up there with my man Pro Fan Talk. So make sure you guys stay locked in on the content on the on the channel. I always appreciate the love you guys provide to the content. It means a lot to me, and you guys always make the show that much more exciting. So again, smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Subscribe to the show. If this was your first time tuning into the show, man, oh man, did we have a good time or what? I hope I didn't scare you. I hope I didn't scare you away with my passion. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles guy. I love my team. I love my city. You know what I mean? I hold them in high regard. I'm a competitor. I'm passionate. I give a lot of myself. And I hope you guys really enjoyed the energy. I hope you guys enjoyed the vibes. And I also had an interview with my man, John McMullen. Thank you, Fitness Warrior. Thank you, S Blunt. Thank you. I appreciate it. I also had an interview with my guy, John McMullen. That was a good one, too. So I spoke to Seth Joyner, John McMullen, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks, Weapon X, Pro Fan Talk. We had a lot of people come on the show, especially in preparation for the draft. If you guys want to double back to those interviews, you guys can do that. You guys can definitely do that. And I appreciate it. And by the way, like Fitness Warrior said, I love cowboy hats. I really do, man. Cowboy hats are pretty cool. I got to admit it. Other than that, man, we out of here. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.